everyone. Today we're doing another video where I'm just like talking at you. I'm actually really excited about this topic today. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. It's something that I've really felt connected with in the past few months, and that's nostalgia. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, Monica, you're a 22-year-old woman. You have nothing to be nostalgic about yet. It's like that one line in Inside Out 2 where they're like, you need to like go through like a couple friends' weddings and a high school reunion first before you can feel nostalgic. But I would say it's less like me being nostalgic about a specific time in my life and more me being nostalgic about the things I loved as a child. So I talk about this a lot. I feel like I make it my whole personality, but I was bullied in middle school pretty hard. I was coming from being homeschooled, and so I think that was a lot of the reasons why I was bullied. But I feel like my inner child kind of got scarred because of the bullying. And I know that middle school is kind of a rough time because like you're not really a kid, but you're also not really a teenager yet. But I would argue you're still a child, even though most middle schoolers don't want to be treated like a child, which is totally valid. You're still a kid. You've still got that child in you. And so I feel like the bullying that I experienced definitely like stunted the growth of my inner child. Because a lot of the things that I was getting bullied for were things that I liked. I was bullied for doing theater. I was bullied for reading all of the time. Things like that. And so when I got to high school, I was like, I'm still gonna enjoy those things, but not loudly. So like I participated in theater. That was the thing that remained consistent, was my love of theater. I was still very loud about that. I still did shows. I still talked about my shows, but I didn't talk about the musicals that I liked. I just talked about like the stuff that I was getting involved in. So I feel like that was a little off. I did post some things on my social media about like being a theater kid, but it was definitely a lot more toned down than middle school. And reading, I also didn't post about. I would bring books to class still, and I still read. I just like didn't talk about it, didn't do it very often, would usually do it at home where people couldn't see me. And so I think because I was so like hidden about the things that I liked, I didn't get a chance to kind of foster that love for them. And so now I'm going back to those things as a 22-year-old. Obviously, I studied theater, so that didn't change. But, things like reading, like I didn't get back into like reading intensely until college. My freshman year of college, I started reading way more, and I was getting through books so much faster, like when I was a kid. But the two big things that I'm going to be talking about today are just like two things that I loved as a kid that I have recently brought back into my life. So we're going to talk about them today. I'm really interested to hear like what kinds of like books and media and toys you guys loved as kids that you definitely would like still play with. Like if someone put your favorite childhood book in front of you, would you still read it, kind of thing. So I'd love to hear what book that would be. So like if someone set a childhood book in front of you, what book would you be like, oh my God, I need to sit and read this right now? I have way too many. But the one that I have been reading specifically is the Babysitter's Club series. So how this came about was a couple of months ago. I was in a huge reading slump. Just every book I picked up was just not hitting. I was giving everything like 2 stars, 3 stars. And I was like, I need a palate cleanser. And normally I pick up like a fun romance or like but I just wasn't in the mood to read anything. Like I was like, I hate life. And so I was like, what can I read that's like quick? I can get through it in like a day, and I know it'll make me happy, and I know that I like it. So I was scrolling through Hoopla, and I was like, I wonder if they have Babysitter's Club books on here. And so I looked it up, and they did. And I was like, I'm just gonna read like the first couple, because the first 5 books of that, or like the first 7 actually, the first 7 books of that series was all my library had growing up. So I read those 7 books like all the time. And then like sometimes they would have like the 8th one or like the 25th one. Like it was just very random. So, but the first 7 are the ones that I remember so vividly because that was what my library had. So I was like, I'm just gonna read the first couple for nostalgia purposes. And I loved them. I was like, why am I reading this as a 22-year-old? I was literally obsessed. Like I was like, this is transporting me back. And it wasn't even about like the time period in my life. It was just like, I remember loving these books because as a homeschooled kid, I had a lot of friends who had like little siblings that we had to play with. And I was like, these games are so fun. We should play these games with the little siblings of my friends. And I wanted to be a babysitter. I wanted to make money from it. I wanted to be a mom. That was just something that I was super, which again, I went on to like work with kids and youth. So I think that that pipeline is really interesting. But I was like, this is awesome. So I recently started rereading the books. I have since gotten, I think I'm on book 30. So I'm reading some that I've never read before. And I think that these books are awesome because not only are they just really cool and they teach kids like responsibility and about babysitting, but they cover really important issues that I think kids in general, but also students experience. Like there was one that I remember really vividly as a kid about eating disorders. And that one is really good. I think it really educates people on like how to identify eating disorders within your friends. Obviously you've got Stacy and her diabetes and like how she manages that. You've got grief. You've got, you know, navigating your first boyfriend, first relationship in middle school. It's really cool stuff that I think kids really benefit from. And they've recently started re-releasing these as graphic novels, which, small tangent, a lot of people hate on graphic novels, but I think for the middle and high school crowd, they are so perfect. I worked with a teacher in the fall in an English class who every single year she starts her students with, they read a chapter book from their childhood as their first like free choice book. And then they read a graphic novel, and then they read like a spooky mystery book, and then so like the difficulty level builds up, and this is a freshman English class, and I think that that is so smart because kids have to start somewhere if they want to learn, if they want to read and get into reading, they have to start somewhere. And if that somewhere is a graphic novel, be my guest. Like I'm not going to shoot someone down for reading a book because I love reading and I want other people to love reading. So I was really excited when I saw that the Babysitters Club were becoming graphic novels because I was like, that means more, you know, middle school age girls are going to be reading them. And so that just made me really happy. And so I've been reading those books for the past couple of months now, and it's been so fun. Like I really enjoy it. I've also been watching the Netflix show, and I really wish that it kept going because it's really good. It's not a great book adaptation, but I think the stuff that they add is great. Like I think the way that they modernized it and they add other issues in to the show is really good and great for kids. But now the other thing I'm going to talk about, which was another obsession that I had as a child that I've really embraced in the past couple of months. This is Gabby, my first ever American Girl doll. She's been through it. I'm going to take her sunglasses off because the glare is weird. She has been through it. She has, you know, some really crappy nail polish that's like permanently on her body because it's been on for so long. Her hair has seen better days. It's a little bit better. It was much worse than this when I first pulled her out. But I've had this girl for 17 years because I got her when I was 5. And I got her as a lookalike. I used to have bangs, so hence the bangs. She's definitely a lot tanner than I am. I don't know if that's just, I don't remember if she was tan when I bought her or if she's just old and has gotten tan over time. But yeah, I would say we look fairly similar, not so much anymore. But anyway, I was the biggest American Girl fan. Like I had a YouTube channel for my American Girl dolls, but I grew up with not a lot of money. So Gabby here was actually a gift from a family friend. And I also had Isabel, the American Girl or the Girl of the Year from 2014. I was 11 when I received her for Christmas, and it was my first like big Christmas gift, so I was like super excited. And then I also had Pleasant Company Samantha that I got at Goodwill for like $20. So I only had 3 dolls, and I didn't have any of like the big accessory pieces, you know, the really expensive stuff, but I was still obsessed. I read all of the books, I subscribed to the magazine, I would regularly get the catalog, I played the games on the computer, I watched all of the movies. Like, I was so locked into American Girl. And that was one of the things that quickly died when I got to middle school, because I had a YouTube channel. I had a personal YouTube channel, and I had an American Girl doll YouTube channel. And my personal YouTube channel was getting attacked. Like, people were cyberbullying me on it, and they would make fun of me at school. So I was like, this needs to die. So I, you know, disappeared from YouTube. I also got rid of my American Girl account, because I got rid of my American Girl account way earlier, because I was like, I'm gonna get so bullied for this. So I got rid of it, and I put my dolls in storage, and I was like, this is not gonna happen. So then after that, I was kind of more of a quiet fan. Like, I still followed them on like Instagram and stuff, and kept up with like news of like what dolls were releasing and things like that. So like, I still was like involved. I just wasn't talking about it, because I knew I would get bullied for it. So then all throughout high school, I didn't do anything. And then I got to college, and I met my 2 besties, Ryan and Izzy. And Izzy in particular was like, I'm obsessed with American Girl. I have a whole PowerPoint of like all the historical dolls. And I was like, shut up, I love American Girl. And then Ryan was like, I do too. So then I felt a lot more comfortable like talking about, you know, doll news with them and things like that. So then when we did our senior girls trip this past fall, we were like, we need to go to the AG store and do the brunch and do the whole thing. And I remember on the first day, I was very nervous. I was like, I feel like we're gonna get judged. And that was kind of like my, you know, bullied self talking. But my inner child, she was like, please, girl. She was like, let me go, unleash me. So I went in, and we ended up going every single day that we were there, just to like look around and look at stuff and just be with the dolls. And it made me so happy. And I think the reason why I'm so drawn to these 2 specific things from my childhood is, 1, just the joy that I get from them, and 2, I feel so at peace. And I think it's my inner child like healing, because whenever I read the Babysitter's Club books, I finish the book and I'm like, I just feel so much better. Like, my day is just great, because I got to relive a little bit of part of my childhood, and it just made me so happy. And then the American Girl thing, when I was in that store, I felt so at peace, and I was just so full of joy. It was like I was at Disney World, because I knew that no one in that building was going to judge me, and it was just so awesome and great. So I am going to hang on to my doll stuff. I don't know if I'm going to display them at all. Gabby right now just chills in my room, and I got this outfit on our girls trip. But my other 2 dolls are still in storage. But, you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll decide to pull them out. Those are crooked. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I know this seems really random, but I just, you know, I'm trying to be more myself on the internet and feel more comfortable talking about the things that I like, because I felt so uncomfortable growing up talking about them. So comment down below a super like cool thing from your childhood that you're still interested in, like Littlest Pet Shop or Pokemon, or I don't know, something fun like that, because I just love hearing people talk about the things that they love. And I just wanted to say, embrace it. If you're someone who's like, I really like this thing, but I don't want to talk about it, do it. Like, you're gonna feel so much happier, and just so much, like, your inner child inside of you is gonna feel so at peace, because you shared this thing that you love. And who cares if someone's trying to dull your sparkle and dull your passion, because it only has to make sense to you, and you don't have to please anyone. You don't have to look cool for anyone. You can just, if they don't want you at your most authentic self, then they're not a great person. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this and you're encouraged to share what you love in the comments. I would love to hear it. Bye, guys.